The Holocaust. What can we learn from it, and how can we make sure it doesn't happen again? Well, we can take a deeper dive into that here in this video. The Holocaust was a tragedy led by a particular man with a funny little mustache, but is it being led by someone else? And can it happen again, even in modern times? Let's start off with the first question of how did the Holocaust actually happen? Well, there wasn't a whole lot of mass media, so it wasn't able to hear about it from across the country, or across the continent, or across wherever you were. You could live in, I don't know, India, and you wouldn't have heard about the Holocaust. Now, there were baby steps when it came to the Holocaust. It didn't just immediately start with he being funny little man. He didn't just take power and then immediately start up the Holocaust. No, he took his time. He started by spreading off misinformation about people who were Jewish. He's isolated them in ghettos and spread propaganda to make them seem like they were a bunch of villains and a bunch of terrible people that were a waste of time and energy to their society, which made it easy for them to be shipped off to concentration camps, slaughter camps, and work camps. Now, we touched on this a moment earlier. There was a lot of political propaganda. There were quite a few pieces of propaganda that showed that the Aryan man was way superior than a Jewish man, and other forms of things like that that painted Jewish people to be villains and made it to where it was more justifiable for them to actually get away with doing this. Our next point is, what can we learn from the Holocaust? Well, we can learn the dangers of prejudice. Prejudice is the opinion or the belief about someone in a negative way. You can still see it a lot these days. Second, the importance of remembrance and education. It's important for us to always keep in mind what happened during the Holocaust and what the Holocaust was. It's also important to educate youth to understand the dangers of prejudice and the dangers of misinformation and the dangers that can arise from wild swings of politics. And finally, the power of individual actions. The Holocaust really started from one silly little man. He published a book about his belief against Jewish people, and people kind of latched on to that. He pinned the whole First War towards Jewish people and helped lay this blame that made it more justifiable for people to just go along with these slaughter camps and such. So it's important to remember that even if a political figure has these wild, outlandish thoughts and opinions and plans, it doesn't mean that we should just completely disregard them, because it can happen, and it did happen in the past. And our final point is, or our final area of topic, is how can we make sure that this doesn't happen again? So number one is to never underestimate fringe political voices. Again, that's what I was talking about, is that there was a fringe, I can't really say his name because YouTube doesn't like that. So funny little man was a fringe political voice. He wasn't like, there was never really this like avid hatred towards Jews before him. Sure, there's people who didn't like Jews because they weren't Jewish themselves or didn't understand Jewish religion. So of course there's always that prejudice, but he helped instill this hatred towards Jewish people, and he was a fringe political voice. The next point is to be aware that hatred of minorities can make a very popular policy. So that's kind of what happened, is that if you look back and you read about it, the ghettos, it was a policy that was signed to make it to where it was completely legal to move Jewish people into ghettos, into little confined neighborhoods. So it's easy for these different hatred towards minorities to have these like policies arise. And we can sort of see how that's going in our current day, but we don't have to go into that wing of politics right now. And finally, remember that terrible crimes are often committed in small steps. If you're committing first degree, you don't just go jump into it. You plan, you stalk, you set up the place, and you hide things. That's how it was with him. he first wrote his book, and then he started implementing these small changes in policy and in politics to where he was able to eventually lead to just deporting all of them to Auschwitz and other places, other concentration camps, work camps, and slaughter camps. And it was just baby steps. Nobody noticed. People didn't see the changes until it was too late and before they could do anything about it. Now, in summary, we can learn that the Holocaust, having been this terrible mass tragedy led by a fringe political figure who took baby steps to make his dark, I don't even know if they were fantasies or what, but his dark plans come into play. And it's important to notice that we need to not disregard far-leaning politics or fringe politics. We can't disregard that prejudice can lead to policies that can be destructive to people. And it's also important to remember that we shouldn't forget and we shouldn't disregard those that were lost in this terrible millions of people that are just gone just because of what they believed. So we must not forget, continue educating youth, educating adults, always seek more knowledge, always seek more understanding. So anyways, that is all. I thank you for watching this video. I hope it was educational in a way and that you understand a little bit more about what we can do with the Holocaust and how we can remember and learn and what lessons we can take away from the Holocaust. I thank you. Like if you enjoyed it, share it with somebody who might find this interesting. If you have any of those friends, history buffs or whatever, you guys know a person, trust me. There's so many of them everywhere. And subscribe if you might want to see more of this kind of stuff, because I'm in school and I have to do projects like this, so you might see more. So, thank you, and have a great day.